to Libations in Lost Cities. I'm your host, Greg Washington, otherwise known as Daddy Porter. I'm excited to give y'all our second volume or edition here. Um, we will be talking about March Madness. We will review a wonderful Art Eddie is excited about an upcoming Star Wars release. We're going to have Slothy's return, the debut of Kinky Suds on the stream. We're going to have the fanboys on, and I'm just excited about everything that's going to happen here. So without further ado, let's jump into the news. Hello,
News
Steve.
time.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, Greg. How the hell are you?
Great. We're missing Miss Kinky Suds.
Where is she?
I don't know. We'll figure. Okay. Well, you're gonna start. Yes.
All right. Okay.
You're gonna start, and we're gonna finish.
All right. No problem. News time. Bam. All right.
And there she goes. Miss
There
Kinky Suds.
she is.
Hello. We have to comment on this first.
I mean, how do you not? I mean, if anybody doesn't know what this is, and I think the green screen's making it disappear just a little bit. But, you know, since this is Women's History Month, I just wanted to go ahead and dress up as one of my favorite characters. Okay. I just had to, just for a little bit. And, you know, just give a little bit of love to, you know, something that just reminds me a lot of my nostalgia, my childhood. And I will say this suit is making me a little hot, not going to lie. Not going to lie. I might get a little bit of swamp ass under this, so, you know.
That's fair. It's expected.
Right?
And welcome to the crew. We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited for this. I was like, I didn't get a chance to do it last month with you guys, but I thought this month I had time. So I thought I'd come on in and say hello and kind of add the female perspective. Just had to add it, you know. I think it was a little too many men. You know, we gotta change it up a little bit to show that women do love gaming. Just saying.
Got to keep the variety. It's the spice of life.
Amen.
Appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you.
And what's going on, Steve?
All right. Well, big news as of today. State of play. If you are around and if you're anybody who likes PlayStation, you should have been watching this. So it's mere hours ago, Sony presented a live stream of upcoming games that were mainly featured in Japan-based studios. We got a view of some continuing series. We revisited a classic remake and some new concepts. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. And I know I'm not the only one looking forward to some of these titles. So this is where we're going to have an open news forum. So let's do it. So I would like to get Ms. Kinky Suds, Mr. Daddy Porter. Give me the two biggest ones that you're looking for after watching today.
Ooh, I would have to say, I think Ghostwire Tokyo, mostly because it gave me a bit of Death Stranding vibes, just a wee bit. Mm-hmm. I will say when they did a little bit of like the cutscenes in there, I was like, if you have an issue with epilepsy, you might have an issue because it was kind of flash. It's like
a little bit.
I don't know about that, but I think that one might be really good. I think the other one that might be pretty interesting would be Forspoken. And that one to me, I thought was hilarious when she said, you know, everything wants to kill you. So I was like, oh, okay, so Australia. That's what I was thinking. But the fact that the dragon's heart lighting up a little bit, I was like, it reminded me of that old classic Dragon Heart. I don't know if you guys know the one with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
So it made me think of that. And I was like, and it's a female character. And she looks like she might be a little bit mixed. I was like, ooh, I like that. So those two to me, I got some comments on some of the other ones, but I'm going to let Daddy Porter say his 2 piece on that before I go and dog some of the other titles.
I'm just going to say Cowabunga, dude.
Yes.
Oh, yes. But they went 8-bit with that one, right? Like I was like, they're going with the old school, and it was a collection. It's not just one.
Not just one, because it started looking like just Turtles in Time, and then they started like pulling out a couple of the others. I'm like, oh, we're really taking more of a deep dive on this one. So
yeah. I'm shocked. I was like, I wonder if they're going to try and bring back more of that 8-bit style for other games as well, because you know, we grew up with that, right? At least our generation did. So for me, It's funny because if you try to play some of those games now on these newer TVs, they don't look as great. So you have to kind of like fix them a little bit to get that nostalgia back, because then it's like really fuzzy and you're like, is my vision going bad? But it's not. So I'm really excited to see how they play with the graphics on this one. I think it would be cool, but again, I think it's going to be playing more in that nostalgia factor, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I'm going to toss it back to you, Kiki Suds, for because I know you have more commentary, and I know you watched it. I know you got some stuff to say. So let's
just a little bit. I think for me, I was really, for some of the games, I was excited about it, especially the one where they had the dragon or the dinosaurs that were coming through the vortex. The very first one that they showed on State of Play.
Exoprimal.
Exoprimal. I thought that
Yes.
was pretty interesting. I thought that one kind of reminded me of Left 4 Dead. But you're doing this against dinosaurs, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And plus, for me, Jurassic Park was one of my favorite movies growing up, so I'm really excited about that. But I'm kind of curious where they're going to go with that one. The other one for art style, I'm very picky about my games. So when I was looking at what was the name of it, JoJo Bizarre, that one, I don't like the art style of that one. Like, I think it's interesting because it's a fighting game, but I don't like the art style on that one. What do you guys think? Did you like the art style on that one, or was it like your cup of tea for that type of art style?
When I was watching that, it's funny because we just had an episode release on retrospect on Sega Genesis, and
Yes.
Clark and I got really into, like, we had the same game on our list called Comic Zone, and it reminded me of that, but like an updated anime type style where it feels like you're playing a comic, but it feels like you're playing a more detailed comic. So there was some part of it where I'm watching that, I'm like, I feel like I've been here before, but I haven't, but I kind of want to be there.
Yeah. Did you know what the one that was Trek to Yomi? That one was interesting because it was all black and white.
Yeah.
And it has a samurai story to it, which I thought was pretty cool. So I thought that was interesting. I'm curious if they're ever going to like in certain parts maybe pop some color in, but it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it with that one.
It doesn't. It was a really fun feel to it, though. I mean, it definitely was.
Kind of reminds me of like if you think about like LA Confidential, but samurai kind of a feel. That's what
Something
it gave to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only other one for me that I thought was kind of interesting would be Returnal. But only because
that looks
right.
Good.
That one, but it made me think of Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, where you keep dying over and over again, so you have to like kind of learn what the hell happened. To me, that's what it kind of gave me, and I started laughing a little bit because I was like, okay, do you ever? So like each time you come back, she said it's like infinity, right?
Yeah.
Do things change? Because I know in some games I have it where if you go back and play the same level, it might change a little bit. So I wonder if they're going to do something like that, or have it where AI kind of learns you a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just blown away by the graphics on that one, and that was the one that grabbed me the most, actually. On top of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was Eternal. And I haven't seen. I'm a novice compared to y'all, so when I saw that one, I was like, man, that one grabbed me. I was really into that.
Yeah, that one I thought was pretty interesting, but I think for most of them, I was like, okay, we'll see what they're going to come out with.
Yeah,
Clark talked about Ghostwire. Any?
Yeah, I see Clark popping that up in there, like from the background, and Ghostwire is definitely on my radar. I mean, just having that pop up, it's just the way it's kind of like seems to be laid out. I mean, it looks like it's just going to be a fun way. It's like Unis or like demons. You're fighting spirits, and like at the very end, it almost had like a Spider-Man feel to it, just kind of like flinging yourself around. So I'm like, I am always on board for something like that. I'm a Spider-Man game like freak when it comes to it. It's like one of my favorite styles. And then Stranger of Paradise, the like the new Final Fantasy kind of.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since a Final Fantasy is like really come to shine, and I'm really curious. I'm more curious to see what they're going to do with the storyline.
Yeah.
With it.
They didn't give you much. He showed a little bit of the fighting scene, which is all
they don't.
Right? They never do. And I'm like, you could tell right when it popped up, I was like, oh yeah, that's Final Fantasy. It always has the same feel to it. So you know exactly what you're going to expect. But
yeah,
I don't know. I wonder where they're going to go with the story with that one though.
Yeah.
But which was your favorite Final Fantasy though? There's always a big debate.
A Final Fantasy VIII, and I know I may be in a small population of that one, but that's just the one that stands out. That will always be forever in my heart. And yeah, don't tell me any different because you won't convince me. To each their own. That's all I gotta
I was
say.
going to say, yeah, exactly. So many times I've heard people say 7 or 10. You
Mhm.
rarely hear anybody say 8, but I
Both
like
great
that.
games. Don't get me
Which are
wrong.
great.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But I mean,
Exactly.
come on. It's a gun blade. It's a gun and a sword in the same thing. How can you not like that?
I would have to agree with you on that.
All right. Appreciate
Back
that.
to the state of play real quick before we move on.
Yep.
I just thought I was just amused by the comments and the negativity of it all from just the PlayStation audience in general. I mean, maybe this is my first experience watching it and experiencing that, but I just thought it was real funny, man. People were just really, really down on what they saw today. And I don't know, I'm just more of a positive guy. I guess sometimes what I do is I take the positive things and then I'm like, I just focus in on them and I'm just like, man, I'm really excited. So then that really like puts the negative things or the things that I was maybe looking for that didn't show up. I think they come with a different angle where they're looking for something. And if it's not there, then it's automatically negative. I don't know if y'all want to quick jump on just the idea of like how, was this a good state of play for you? Was it a bad one? Where were you at?
I think it was good. I mean, I think it showcased a different type of game that hasn't really had a showcase in quite some time. Coming from kind of like the Japanese developers, it's been a lot of American heavy, especially like with some of like the major franchise titles that have been pushed. And I think it's good because it's a good step back to where like the basis of like a lot of our games came from. And there's always going to be people that have something to say. There's always going to be shit coming out of their mouth, and to each their own opinion. That's perfectly fine. But at the same time, just don't ruin it for everybody else. If you don't like something, okay, to be like, hey, not for me. Call it there. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, I think people are looking for, they really want something that's going to be like really big or have like extended gameplay that you can show, right? Because a lot of times when you have these systems or these games that get put out there, they will kind of show you these really nice cut scenes and kind of make you think that, oh, this is what's going to be in a game. Then we actually play it, you're like, this is nothing like it. A good example of that was Battlefield, the new one that's out.
Mm.
And I think people get really caught up. They're tired of that. They're like, don't oversell it. Show me what I'm actually going to get. So I do think that a lot of times people, when they see these type of things, they're kind of like maybe going a little bit on the side of, oh, it's not a big bang, and maybe it's not going to be like that. But I usually try to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I do think a lot of gamers are getting tired of that whole switcheroo, switch and bait type of thing.
Gotcha.
All right, Steve. What do you have next?
All right. Next up, Dead Space remake announcement. So Dead Space developer, the new one, Motive, announced that this coming Friday, we would be getting an early look at the Dead Space remake. The anticipation is high just to see how in-depth the graphics are going to be when it comes to this game releasing on the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. Right now, there's no release date in sight, so any bit of information is keeping the fans of this iconic horror series just waiting with bated breath. And the YouTube live stream is set to take place this Friday, March 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sure to check it out, see where this is going to go.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I think overall it's just one of those type of gaming series that's just really stuck in the minds of people. They did some animated stuff, animated movies about it. But I do think it was just something very different with the creatures and the creepy feel to it.
Oh,
And I thought
yeah.
they did a really great job with. And I also kind of laugh at every time I think of Dead Space about Tobuscus back in the day when he did his whole Dead Space literal music video. I don't know if you guys have seen that, one of my favorites. But I'm really excited about that. Like, I'm excited to see what they're going to do. They're going to keep that creepy factor with it. So I can't see. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the creepiest games out there. I do think games like Little Nightmares has kind of captured a little bit of that creepiness and kind of builds up that feel. But I think Dead Space is one of the first ones that actually did that like really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on the edge of your seat. I think I just peed myself a little bit type of game.
Now, have you ever played that game in the dark?
Yes, I try to make a point of that. We actually did review Dead Space for the podcast, and half of it was in the light, and then my old roommate, who was just a horror game buff, said,
Yes.
you got to turn the lights out. I'm like, I really don't want to. He's like, you need to turn the lights out. I turned the lights out and peed a little, but that's okay. I mean, that's all right.
okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
just put a towel down, maybe some plastic bags. You're fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, or just wear a diaper. It's cool.
Yeah,
That's all you need. Get a binky to go with it. You'll be all right.
Yeah, there we go. How did you know about that?
So this is must-see TV on Friday.
Yeah,
Or
definitely make sure to be tuning in, and worst comes to worst, like if you're working, watch it on your lunch break. I mean, they gave us a little bit of insight, a little bit of a look last year, so it's exciting to see how far they're going to be, about 8-10 months after the last preview.
Sorry, I'm laughing at where's in depends.
Yeah.
That's good.
Get stock.
All right, Steve, what's next?
All right. Next up. Oh, I realize I've been terrible at my my backgrounds here. How
Actually, you
dare
didn't
I?
change it.
No, I didn't. I even had the Dead Space hand. No, that's gone. Can't do that anymore. That's fine.
okay.
Wow,
It
that is
died.
pretty
It's
damn.
dead. It's dead.
That is pretty damn creepy.
Yeah, that's one. It's a dead hand. Throw it in space. Because next up, Grand Theft Auto 5. So now it's running into its third generation of consoles, and Rockstar is going to be releasing Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS5 and Xbox Series S and X on Tuesday, March 15th. So that's right around the corner. With this, you are going to be able to pull over your previous data from either the PS4 or your previous Xbox with a one-time migration. You only get one. You only get one. But with that, there's going to be a catch. No free upgrades. Kinda. So with each console, you're going to have your choice of purchasing the full game, where you get the single player playthrough and the online. So, you kind of get to choose your own adventure. For some of the numbers, for the first 3 months, Xbox users can purchase the full copy of the game for $20 or online only for $10. PlayStation 5 users, on the other hand, are able to purchase the full game for $10 for the first 3 months, and the online version is free. So there's your kinda. But after that, everybody's going to be in the same boat, going to be paying the same amount for everything. So after that, everyone's going to be paying a full $40 a month, or I'm sorry, full $40 for a full version, and then $20 for the online only version. This is pretty much where I would say and follow up something like, with the announcement of Grand Theft Auto 6, we'll see how much attention goes towards this. But I mean, we all know it's nothing but dollar signs for Rockstar. And are you surprised?
Not really. I am kind of curious if they're going to do cross-platform play, though.
Did
they say?
I didn't read anything that did say that, but I'll be honest, with the way that the multiplayer kind of like spectrum is going right now, it wouldn't surprise me if that's going to be integrated somehow, whether it's like the consoles with PC.
Exactly.
But I think that may be like where it kind of trickles out from there, but who knows?
Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting with that.
Y'all need to send me your gamer tags, because I roll alone in this game. It's my favorite game. I love it.
Yeah.
I just think that it's the longevity of this game is just amazing.
It's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy, because you said this is the third generation console that it's on. I mean, it's just amazing how, it's amazing how you can get a game and you can just keep it going, especially the online version, for so long.
Really?
Exactly.
You've done something good. I mean, because I think, us gamers are some of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Where like we just dust a game and we move on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I beat that. I'm over. next? When's the next one? Like we're
Yeah.
always ready for the next one. And for them to be able to just corral people in and keep them, ready and motivated too. Like no one's jaded. I mean, people are jaded. People want the next one. But that
Yes.
anticipation level that
Yeah.
people keep, and then they still play the game that's been here for, it seems like 10 years now. I
Right.
mean,
At least,
this,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Quick
I don't know
Google
what
search
you
it. I mean, it's been around for fucking ever, it feels like.
ever.
But you know what? I think the online aspect keeps it kind of fresh, right? Because people come in and they do stupid stuff all the time, or they're trying to find like new things to do. They got new ports they're putting into it and mods
Yep.
and stuff that are with it. So I'm like, it keeps it fresh. But I do kind of, and I think the other thing too, because of how vast the map is, it's just so much you can do with it, right? So
Yeah.
each time GTA comes out with something, it's always getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember when. And my favorite GTA of all time is Vice City, because that was just like one of the games I just like got really into.
Tommy
Just like,
Vercetti.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? And the house that you would have at the end, you're like, I am like king of the world type of thing. Plus the music, I'm a big 80s lover with music. So, for
The
me, Vice City's
music.
my thing. But I also like
The
the fact that
music.
when you had the roller skater girl that would come up, like when you would turn on the mod where everybody fights each other and how she would come up so aggressively at you. Always love
Mhm.
that piece. But I do think that with this online piece, it made it where it was just different. So like you have people who are constantly going ahead and just trying to kill each other, and the fact that you can kind of map that type of piece, you can do a bunch of stuff in there too. I just thought that was just pretty cool. So I think that's what keeps it fresh, keeps it spicy. So
Yeah, it's just a great game, and I'm looking forward to like everyone for the next one.
oh, I know.
Right there
What do
with
you?
you.
Where do you think they're going to have it at? Because I mean, I know San Andreas. You had San Andreas. It's kind of California feel, right? Even this one with GTA 5 has somewhat of a California feel to it. Where do you think they're going to try and do it? You think they're going to do something that has like an international feel to it?
Maybe. I wouldn't mind if they took it back to Miami, kind of give it back that Vice City vibes a little bit. Like
Yeah.
just with like that little extra flair. It's like that you don't
Yes.
really get necessarily on the West Coast. You pop that right down in like the tip of Florida, you're gonna get some weird and it's gonna be interesting. So
Yes.
why not?
Because I was thinking like Tokyo would be good if you
Oh,
did like a
all right.
Paris one. If you did London, right? I'm thinking along those lines. That would be pretty cool. I think.
Paris with the Eiffel Tower.
Would be hilarious. Blow up the Eiffel Tower. That would be hilarious as hell. Like to see that thing. Like, nope. Yeah, that would be kind of
But
funny.
one last note, though, are there really quick? Are there any other games? I think part of the longevity of this is that there are no other games that are really like this one, as far as pop culture, and as far as, or am I wrong? Y'all the gamers here, you can tell me, Steve. There's, it's so unique. I think that's part of why it goes so far.
Well, I think the biggest thing that they really have going for them is like it's mainly console based. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of PC players with this, but at least for the fact that it's been available on console, like this game has been available on consoles since like PlayStation 3 and 360. That's just something, and they kept up with it, and that was the big thing. And especially once they launched online, it's that online multiplayer where you can get like a bunch of people in a lobby, just do stupid shit. If you want to run missions, go run missions. If you want to hop in a car with 4 of you together and go hunt down some random poor dot that's trying to run around the map, you can do that too. Get
Yes.
7 planes all
Or-
together and do like loop-de-loops and shit. You can do
Yeah.
that too.
I was gonna say, or the other thing is if you do the Skyfall and just try to see if you can land into swimming pools. That's another thing you could do as well,
Exactly.
right? Oh, I didn't make it wasted. I mean, that's just all. It's kind of funny as well how they do that. That to me is like a classic thing when they say
Yeah.
waste, and it's always in slow mo too. I'm
Wasted.
like, yeah. I always crack up at that. Then you end up at the hospital. I'm like, damn, those doctors are pretty good. That's all I gotta say. Pretty good.
Oh, there we go, Fandad. Oh, GTA North Dakota. So we need to be
North
careful when we're
Dakota.
going up there. Oh, God damn. The oxen's got out of the pen again. We need to go wrangle.
Just do it in Fargo. You'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Yes, open availability. That's what I really
Yep.
like about that.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs. That's the other one. Watch Dogs. Yeah. I love that game because I would go through and just steal a bunch of people's money. I just thought that was pretty good. So that's
There
just
you
me.
go.
All right,
Or
Steve,
Heather
what
the
else you
Wolf.
got?
All right. Next up on the docket, we're talking games to film. It's starting to get a little crazy out there. So what we're seeing is a lot of game to film adaptation on the rise over the past several years, and we have a few more we can add to the list and possibly add to the streaming list. So right now, Amazon Prime is in talks for acquiring a new series based on God of War. Of course, Sony will most likely have a hand as a co-producer, but really this isn't their first rodeo when it comes to this type of thing. So Sony has also recently landed a series for The Last of Us, and which I didn't even know about till I was looking into it. Also one with Twisted Metal, which was picked up by the streaming service Peacock, NBC. So really we're going to have to wait and see how they're going to take these games and actually translate that to live action, but at least we have some good titles to look forward to. I mean, that's
I'm shocked with Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
I feel like if they're going to do that, it has to be a rated R, in my honest opinion.
Oh yeah, that's TVMA
has to.
N17, whatever it is.
It
I
has
mean,
to. Like it's just like how they had the game back in the day, Carmageddon. Did you guys ever play that game? Carmageddon?
no, I have
Oh
not.
man, that game was a long time ago. It was like one of those games where it was like a racing game where you had the ability to kind of run people over. Man, that game was a trip. You could do like modifications to your car. So Twisted Metal needs to be, like you said, my big budget, needs to be rated R or higher. Like that just,
Yeah.
you can't do anything lower than that. I'm sorry.
Though when I did see that, I was very excited because that is, even for just being a game where you control a car and you blow up other cars, when they got into the backstory of the drivers, it's like some of the craziest shit ever. And like actually kind of good, where there can be a premise for like a series. Not to
Yes.
mention you could do like one like driver per episode and you have like 3 or 4 seasons right off the bat. And then
There you
after
go.
that,
Character arc.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh shit, now I see he has a flaming head who used to sell ice cream. Where is he going to go from here? He's going to kill shit. I mean, we already know how that's going to go, but
Yeah,
still, we can watch it get there.
I mean, he got tired of kids talking that his ice cream was shit. He's like, screw it. I'm just gonna have to kill people for that because my feelings are hurt. Ooh, who knows? You could do all kinds of stuff with it, right? Like you could just do crazy backstories. I feel like you
Exactly.
can do that. People are looking for that twisted story. I think we're now starting to move away from the very cookie cutter type of storylines. Like people are really starting to align with the bad guy and empathize with them, right? Like I feel like that there's a market for that right now, so they could totally
Yeah.
do some really cool stuff with those.
I can see why you're so pissed off and really murdered all those people. I'm not going to do it, but I'll watch you do it.
Right, and plus
Yeah.
we know that they're not really dead, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right,
It's all
right.
fantasy and
Right.
make believe. So that's
Wow.
it. We do not
Right.
promote any sort of violence here on the live
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We promote beers, and I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're done?
I know
Yeah.
it's getting there, but I have a few more things to read.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go.
He has to
Fuck.
finish this before he actually gets a little starts slurring.
We're gonna go there.
Slur.
Well, let me tell you about some history and
Mm.
what's happening here, because I
Yeah, we
don't
gotta do
know.
that drunk history, man. Drunk
Yeah.
history.
Do you remember Glover? Because I do. And speaking of Glover, he's back. So
Is he?
this cult classic from the 90s is getting a fresh look thanks to the hand of Pico Interactive. This version of Glover is completely redone from the original source code and improved for modern PCs. Pico tweeted on Monday. I had to give like professional voice, something like
I was
that.
gonna say, you went to like straight news.
Tom Brokaw telling you about Glover right now.
The 6 o'clock hour. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that. Okay. That was
go to
nice.
the weather.
Very nice.
The only place you're able to find this though is on Steam, which
Oh.
it was a Nintendo title. Now it's on Steam. they got the rights. I mean, it is what it is. No one's really clamoring for Glover, but I'll be one of the first to tell you I'm happy to see this coming anyway.
Well, they picked the right group to back that, right, with Steam. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
anybody who's going to like it is probably going to be on Steam. Just saying. Just
exactly. Yeah. So there is no announcement for a Switch release in sight. So for right now, if you want to get like a handheld, type of feel for it, go get that.
No, I'm not
Thank
kidding.
you. Go pick up Steam Deck. It's portable, and it most likely will be able to run this. And not only that, I think there might be kind of an inside joke because the remake is set to release on 420.
Oh,
Maybe.
so we should get some high praises. Okay, cool.
Oh,
cool.
yes, I would see that coming.
Would you though, through all the smoke? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I need to like clear my eyes a little bit there.
My eyes are red. Oh, they burn.
I got nothing. Y'all got this.
No, that's good. Cool. We'll move on because we're seeing some red.
Right.
So as it is right now, we're all aware of what's going on. So sales have halted in Russia over many different companies. So several companies have actually pulled their products from Russia as a result of the ongoing conflict. We have Microsoft, EA, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Rockstar's parent company Take-Two Interactive are just some of the big names that have pretty much ceased commerce in the nation. It's also reported that PlayStation pulled Gran Turismo 7 from stores, although Sony hasn't actually made any official comment on that. It's kind of more hearsay of what's going on. Some companies are handling things a little differently. So some are just withdrawing, possible new sales or bundles, while others are stopping services altogether. So each one is kind of taking their own approach to the situation. But with this, I mean, it's sure just to be the beginning of more companies that are going to follow suit. I mean,
it makes sense.
It's the way it's going, and it is what it is.
What's interesting about this whole Russia-Ukrainian conflict, and I it's not in the field of gaming, but one of my close beer friends, I should say, Beer Battered Thoughts. I don't know if you guys know who he is. I call him the Black Knight because he actually participates in armored combat, which is actually pretty cool. He was telling me that if they wanted to get anything with like their armor for that because of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, they can't get their stuff right now because that's where most of the armor and chainmail is coming out of is from Ukraine. I was like, really?
Huh.
So it's like when you think about different markets that are being affected by this, it's really interesting to see what that impact is. It's
really
interesting. So it's sad to see what's happening over there and the tricky business of trying to figure out what's the line in the sand of what countries can do to kind of help them.
Right.
But it's also just pretty interesting to see what's going to happen next, right? Because they're talking about, gas prices going up. We have to think about other things that are going to be impacted. So I'm hoping this doesn't blow up to something more, but
yeah,
it's just sad all around to hear of us. Besides just thinking about big businesses, though, just the people who are involved with it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what matters most out of all of this. I mean, money is just money. You can replace money, you can't replace people. So
correct.
Yeah. So we do have, we have one more to kind of go through here. So we're talking huge games of February right now. So obviously there's pretty much like two big front runners that have really blown everything out of the water. So we're looking at Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West. So Horizon had an early but strong start when it came to the sales, but with no irony, Elden Ring was there to really put a hurt on it and make it feel bad about itself. So, both got very strong reviews. There was more of a pull when it came to Elden Ring, but it's also a massive title, and it's been a while since there's been anything coming out of like the Dark Souls, realm, I guess is the best way to put it. And not only
Yes.
that, just the amount of like downloads and players that Elden Ring has had so far is incredible. But not only that, where you have to think about how many unexperienced people with the series actually download it, be like, this looks like a fun game. And
Yeah,
then
they
they were
don't.
just,
Yeah,
they were immersed into a world of torment
they
and
don't
pain
understand. They don't
and
understand.
more pain, and then some shame,
Yes.
and then some more pain.
Yes, the amount of hours that the players have put in is hilarious. There's this one guy who said he put in 87 hours. And I'm like, that's dedication right there. So you can just imagine the amount of hours, the amount of curse words that have been thrown, the amount of controllers that have been probably
Yep.
destroyed because of this game. That a lot of people do not understand the world of Dark Souls. Like,
Yeah.
I think over time with the Dark Souls series, they changed the way of how you can interact with it. But I
Mhm.
do think that I think a lot of people became aware of Dark Souls when 3 came out, and then you had Bloodborne that came out. So people are like, ooh, what is this? And now with Elden Ring that's coming out, I think that you're starting to get a wider audience, but the diehards already knew what they were getting themselves into and
Oh
were
yeah.
probably like, I'm going to take a few days off to like really get into this game. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so yeah.
Really let my self-hatred seep in as I'm destroyed
Exactly.
17 times over, only to beat them, only to be destroyed again.
Yes. And I'm losing how many souls this time? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
okay. This feels great. This is fine.
Rage quit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Roll and parlay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Keep doing it. Which I think, as we speak of Elden Ring, that's going to wrap up the news. So
Yes.
thank you, everybody, and be sure to check out Super Film Game Review Podcast Go, which releases every other Sunday, and come join some fun.
Nice. He said fun.
Oops. Well,
He
there we
Yep.
said,
go.
No,
oops,
you were on
Bye.
my
point.
bad.
Yeah.
I
You
was
did
on
your job.
point, man. I should have just let it go.
That was jazzy. I'm sorry. That was.
It got. Oh yeah. No,
I
our
was up
intro
here
themes are like on point. I
jamming.
love
I'm
it.
like, okay, all right.
Hello
Cool.
and welcome to the roundtable for lag, libations, and lost saves. Tonight we are going to have two topics, and let's dive right into the first one. Alloy on the cover of Vanity Fair, getting love as a trailblazer, but she is not the first, and I wanted to discuss some of that because it did not. After reading the article, it did not seem like they really gave credit to all of the originators of breaking out of the stereotypes of women in video games. So, who would like to tee off first on this?
I was gonna say, I feel like it would be me because I'm the only girl that's on here right now. Maybe that's like the obvious, like slow pitch here. Okay, so I will start off with the fact of like you're right. She's not the first. Definitely not the first. I mean, clearly, what I'm dressed as is one of the ones that really, I think, kind of shook up the industry a bit because when you play her, you don't know. You're thinking, oh, okay, this is just a cool dude in some cool space outfit. I get to shoot at some aliens, clearly, as you can see in my background. And it's pretty dope. But then when she dies, you're like, wait, that's a girl? And I remember I used to watch my dad play that game all the time, and he would rarely die. You know, he's one of those type of guys when you're playing like Zelda and you're on like a quarter of a heart, he would still be able to beat a boss. I couldn't do it. It was bad. But like seeing her die and see her pop out, I was like, what is this? So, like, when you think about some of the other female characters that have played, of course, everybody knows Tomb Raider, right? With her lack of polygons that we've had back in the day. I mean, there's so many that have come out over the years that I'm kind of, I get what they're trying to go with this because it's futuristic. She has what they would probably go with maybe an androgynous look, so to speak. But I do think that it wasn't fair to kind of discredit or at least give a slight nod to the ones that came before her. Just saying. So,
All right, I'm gonna hop in here too with some of my favorites. Jill Valentine and Claire Redfield. They weren't the typical helpless damsel in distress types. They came long before Alloy, and it really just went to show you that, like, in different areas of the world, they view like the stereotypes completely differently. So I mean, it's really interesting to see that, and it makes sense, with International Women's Day, and you know, like all the celebration around it. It makes sense that she would be on the cover,
Right.
but without giving props to those before, I feel like it felt a little shallow to me after reading the article, honestly.
Yeah.
Or not well researched, I should say.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that.
I'm going to take us way back, right? Because I think we already established earlier, I'm like one of the older guys here. But arcade games, and if we're keeping it real, Pac-Man kind of sucked, right? I mean, it was good for the time, but Pac-Man sucked.
Very good.
But if we
Yes.
played Miss Pac-Man, between Miss Pac-Man and Galaga, those took all my quarters. So I mean, I think that's the OG, right? Like I can't think of anybody, at least personally, before Miss Pac-Man. Then you've got Chun-Li, of course, right? Street Fighter,
Yes.
awesome.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yes.
And I mean, yeah, of course, Samus Aran or Eris.
Aaron.
What's that all about? Remember? I don't know. What was it? A translation thing, right? That originally she was Samus Aris, and then now Samus Aran.
Believe
Right?
so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I would have started out that article. Maybe Miss Pac-Man.
Yes.
Hmm.
I love I love that.
I was just gonna say, Gil mentioned Chun-Li. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, so of course you had Sonya Blade, you had
Yes.
Anna Melina, like Jade. If you could
Jade.
master Jade, it's done.
Yes.
Like you, like no one, like she got that invisibility, she's got the staff, all that good stuff. So for me, Mortal Kombat, you had that, and then of course, for Donkey Kong and in Mario Kart is always them trying to find and rescue the princess, but then you could actually play her in
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, Super Mario 2, I believe, or
Yep.
Super Mario 2.
Yeah.
But like
Mhm.
She had the best jump in the game.
yeah,
Yes.
like Goliath,
Yes.
right? So it was
Exactly.
great. But for me, it's like the ladies of Mortal Kombat, even like Shiva
Oh, yes.
and Sindel. Like when I play with like
Ooh.
that game with my daughters and stuff like that, one of them loves to play as Sindel, and the other one likes to play as Melina. So like there was like some awesome women, and I think nowadays it's always like we're captured in that moment,
Mhm.
and it's always like, oh, let's just focus on the main thing. But yeah,
Yes.
sometimes people don't do the research, I guess, and that
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the other thing too is like when you think about like Last of Us, which was more in the younger crowd of a woman female character, and then also like Little Nightmares. I mean, of course, it's a little girl in a little raincoat, but it's like she's doing some crazy stuff, dealing with people who eat other people. Like that's some creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about that, right? You got a little girl who like, yeah, this is kind of creepy. I feel like I need to get her out of this orphanage or wherever the hell she's at. So it's like these type of characters have a little bit more to them, but I get where they're trying to go because it's the latest thing right now, the newest game, but I still feel like they didn't do justice to some of the other female characters that came before her.
Yeah, because
Just
I
saying.
was going to mention Ellie. I get that Vanity Fair is probably trying to keep it relevant, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
it just came out. It's a good character to use. But Ellie, I mean, I think that's right there. And I could also understand them not using that because it's kind of a little dark to go with, right? Maybe the whole
Yeah.
Last
Very
of Us.
dark.
But
Just a little
I
bit.
guess thinking about it now, it makes sense. But they could have gone with, not that it's a bad choice, right, Aloy, but it's, it seems like they didn't do their homework.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually read the article, which I guess would have been good prep work, but why would I do that?
What
Come on.
is
You
this?
got enough to do.
Come on.
News?
What
I need
is
the
this,
news.
like,
I don't need to read.
produce content? Get the fuck out of here.
I actually gotta
Um,
read shit.
But I'll at least agree with Gillinar. I think they picked Aloy because it is she's the most relevant right now, just being like a brand new released game, and I think it's more friendly compared to exactly what you said. Actually, I was trying to find like the right connection, but like to Ellie, because there's like a young girl growing up in like this shitty environment, but she shows
Nowadays.
strength in herself too. which is a hard thing to find.
Yeah.
And to hear that they didn't actually mention like the foremothers of like the industry when it came to a strong female lead. It always felt like a lot of the ladies or the girls or the female characters always seemed like ancillary. They were always like second to whatever the main character was, and then they were there to kind of like support the narrative, or to kind of support like one certain character, or then have like a little bit of helplessness or something else, instead of being the one who stands out and be like the one who stands out and be like, no, fuck this, is what we need to do. Man who opens your mouth, shut your goddamn mouth, we're gonna do this instead. I'm like, oh, okay, what am I doing? All right,
I mean,
sure.
It probably would be much more efficient, but that's just me. I mean,
that's just your opinion. That probably has some semblance of truth to it, to be completely
semblance.
fair.
I think a lot. Of
No,
truth,
it does.
Mr.
It does.
Wall.
I'm busting your balls. No,
No, you
it would
can't.
be.
They're too big.
Well, it is. No, there's no escaping. But I think putting Aloy on like the cover of Vanity Fair was like right place, right time for it.
It was.
And there's a lot more attention being drawn to the video game industry than there really was in the past. It's slowly been building, but I think now it's getting so prevalent then
exactly.
you can't really and
Exactly.
exactly what Rod's saying right there. Without Tomb Raider, you don't have Uncharted.
Correct.
That
I mean,
or really like adventure platform. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what Tomb Raider, what I liked about it is that she had like the dualies, first off, right? She was smart. She knew her stuff about where things were. It wasn't where it's like, oh, I just so happened to cross this little tube. No, it was like she knew where to go. You had to figure out puzzles. You had to actually shoot. Plus, they had the farting, butler in the house, which I thought was hilarious.
I forgot about that.
I'm sorry. I just thought that was hilarious when I was growing up, but I just thought it was so cool, right? And she had like the outfit. But I've always noticed in a lot of like, especially like a lot of the fighting games nowadays, they really, now that they have better polygons to go with, these outfits that they have these ladies fighting in nowadays. Like I think there's this one called Bloodspell that I was sitting there looking at someone do gameplay of, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. What double tape is this chick using? Because I need some of that. But it was just like the basic little like string, and I'm like, okay, cool. She's very shapely, but like, my God, some of the outfits they have them fighting in, and just like one of them in State of Play, what was it, Valkyrie Elysium? They have them wearing heels. I'm like, first off,
you're not fighting heels.
You can run in some heels if you're really good with them, but at the same time, if you're fighting, you don't want to twist an ankle. Nobody wants that, because you're like, wait, hold on 1 second. Oh, I need to ice that.
It's like the Peter Griffin gag where he's just
exactly. I'm glad you got that.
Hey, Lois, I got a blister.
Peter. I mean, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of that. You get what I'm saying?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
I was just gonna say that was, especially with the just kind of throwing it to taking a step back from video games and going to movies, the Marvel movies. I thought it was funny because you had Iron Man, Cap, everybody wearing uniforms except for like Scarlet Witch and Black Widow maybe had some of the stuff, but they were just kind of fighting in normal gear. I'm like, it's kind of, if you look at it, obviously I have 2 daughters, and you kind of look at the way people are represented and all that, and I was like, that's kind of cool that like everybody, like the women are just kind of wearing regular clothes, kicking butt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not wearing 6-inch stilettos. And you're like, I would love to see you do that. Okay,
you don't need to look like you're fighting in Dead or Alive beach volleyball to kick some ass. I mean, for God's sake.
No, none of us brought that up as the strong female leads.
No. It's like, did you see how Ayumi like spiked that ball and looked like a very strong independent woman doing that? No, because jiggle physics, and it's like, why? It's not.
Double tape is the strongest thing.
Yep.
I would say double tape's the strongest thing in that. I'm just it's just like, what the hell? How are they staying there?
Come on back. Get it back.
It's like, how the hell did you get the little taquini to stay? I don't understand that. I'm shocked.
There's the magic. You don't.
Right. I haven't gotten to that level, clearly. Just saying.
Me neither. Don't feel bad.
That's okay.
All right. So it was discussed briefly in the news, but I wanted to do a little roundtable about Elden Ring, specifically about
little.
difficulty in video games and kind of a representation of now versus then. And I just wanted to preface it by saying that Elden Ring's absolutely amazing. I've been playing as much of it as I absolutely can in between playing games for the podcast and things like that. So, really, I think Elden Ring and the Dark Souls series in general brings forth the difficulty of games from the past in a way that not many other games do. And they still have some of the creature comforts of modern games like saving and like the campfires and fast travel and things like that. But I just really wanted to talk about what are your guys' thoughts and feelings on difficulty and the level of difficulty in games like Elden Ring and games like, for example, Super Ghouls and Ghosts from way back in the day, which is heralded as one of the most difficult games of all time.
I might be making a cheap shot with this one, but do you remember when I gave you The Lion King to play for the podcast?
Yeah, that game's not nearly as difficult as
I'm sorry,
it just
what?
isn't impossible to beat boss. That's different. Like
well,
that's just
you know
like
what? When you think about just the difficulty of games, like games nowadays, you can save, right? It's like, oh, let me save it here. Like if I'm about to fuck up,
Mhm.
I can save it here, right? But like back in the day, it was like you had to make it to a certain point. And when you didn't make it to that point or remember the damn code they put up on the screen, you were screwed.
You're fucked.
Nope.
Oh,
Okay, like it's like
you're off
you're
by
like,
one letter.
wait, was that an X? Fuck, what was it? Is it a 3? I don't remember, right? And so this was bad. Like you had to write them down, right? And I'm thinking about like just playing some of those games that you had to go through. It was ridiculous. Or like when I think about some of the other games like Soldier of Fortune, way back in the day, like these are games where you had to like really be strategic about how you're going to make it through. These games nowadays, you can save it. It's like, oh, well, all right, let me go back about 3 saves because I screwed up on this one part. Like you couldn't do that with the old ones. It was like either you went through and you did it or you didn't. So
Right.
Or you pulled the whole thing where you paused it at 2 a.m. when you're falling asleep.
Oh,
Nintendo, turn off the
Yes.
TV, wake up
Wake up
around
at
6 in
7.
the morning,
yes.
try all over again.
Oh
That
yeah,
sucks.
see, pause. That's when pause. And like nowadays they have it where sometimes some of these games you'll pause it, but the game is still playing. That pisses me off just a little bit.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to figure out or like stretch the hands a bit because I've been playing for some hours. They're like, no, whoa, you're like, damn it. No, roll,
Elden Ring is one of those
roll.
games.
Yeah,
There is
damn
no
it.
pause in Elden Ring.
There's no stopping. I think there is like we kind of have to like draw a line on this though, because there's a big difference between like if you're talking like Super Nintendo or even like N64 hardness like of playability or whatnot compared to like to the newer generations. And I think Kiki Suds really kind of said it best. It's like, can you save or can you not save? And I think that's really going to come into where the difficulty lies, because if you can't really save, like in the those old games they made to be difficult, because if they made it easy, you would play for 4 hours and then it would suck, and then that's the end of it. You wouldn't want anything else to do with that game ever again, other than the ones who actually did make things hard. But nowadays it's all about replayability and what
Yes.
extra benefits can we give you. It's like, okay, it's a 10-hour game, but once you beat those 10 hours, well, now you can go back through and you have
Side
like
missions.
new thing. Yeah, exactly. Where
Deals.
it can be hard, but is it hard for like 10 hours and then it's hard for 10 hours again and again, and I'm realizing what I'm saying right now? Or is it like a very is it a very like a
Go see a
long
doctor if it's
Okay, one
hard
more
for 10
time.
hours.
One more time. One more time. You're like, oh, we're
Yeah, it was like, all right, I've been here before. I'm a little
Facts,
tired, but I had a
facts.
sandwich, so I'm ready to go.
He's like, I'm energized. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
But I
but
think
where something like Elden Ring, where it's not necessarily like, hey, this is only going to be like a 10 or 20-hour game and it's going to be difficult. It's like, this is going to be a very long and excruciating process to play and beat this game. But this is what we're known for, and you come to us to get this type of abuse. And I think that just takes a special type of
I'm
person to
sorry.
be like,
Use.
You have landed so many things here, right? Long, come
All right,
to
Greg,
us.
you gotta mute Steve now.
We're gonna
All right.
have to. 'Cause-
that's
He's
fair.
done.
That's fair.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, I think you're right. But I think the other thing too with these newer style games, you have different levels of difficulties you can play, right? You're like, okay, let me play it on medium and see how this is, and they're like nightmare hell. You're like, yeah, let me go back and try it on that. Or you can always like start on that, and you're like, no, let me backtrack a little bit, go back to a lower level. Like the old ones are like either you play as you play, or that's it. If he dies, he dies. That's basically what the old games were like. I'm sorry. Like these new games are like, we can be a little bit understanding. And it's like the old ones are like, nope. Yep, it's like nope, don't tell, no. If he dies, he dies.
You guys have
Dies,
mentioned
he
like
dies.
side quests too, right? Like one of the games I'm still kind of finishing is the Spider-Man Miles Morales, because like I feel like sometimes when I'm playing a game and all of a sudden like, oh, there's people getting robbed, like, oh, I gotta
Yes,
where do I
distracting.
go? It's
I
like
got shit to
it's
do.
like Heath Ledger's Joker's like, I'm just a dog chasing cars. When I finally get to it, like, what am I gonna do with it, right? So it's like they're depending on like also too like Lego games. Like I can't wait for the Star Wars Lego game to come out. But all of a sudden my OCD kicks in. I'm like, I have to get all these bricks. I have to get all the gold coins. I have to get all these things. And I'm like, wait a minute. What's the actual mission of this thing right now? It's like when you go to a movie theater and there's like 37 trailers you can see on YouTube that you don't really need to have trailers anymore.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
what movie am I watching? So maybe because like just like Gil, I'm old and I'm just like, yelling at a cloud because I'm like, there's too many side missions.
Get off the lawn.
Eva!
Get off the lawn. Damn it. Off my lawn.
I just moved, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
It's
Elden Ring, I convinced my brother to buy it too, and he hates me for it. Like I regret. You guys know I was in the chat like talking about how like I almost regretted getting the game. Like I was ready to just chuck this out the window.
No.
Right? But
No.
it's gotten better. I changed classes, but really he said it best. He's like, because we haven't, we're not veterans of these Soul games. He's like, I think From Software is trolling us. Right? There's no instructions. There's no. It's like, dude. So there's. I don't want to spoil too much stuff, but there's somewhere where you open a chest and you end up somewhere that you're not supposed to be. I guess at that point in the story. And for the life of me, I had no idea you could fast travel. So I had to try to make the hard way back until. And then I know. And I know you can look stuff up, but I'm afraid to do that because I don't want it to get spoiled. So I'm kind of just like stuck. So it's like, what do I do? Like, luckily, between we were able to figure stuff out. I didn't know how to use the like to call the spirits and stuff. Like, because you can call them sometimes, you can't call them. So yeah, it was not pleasant, but it is one of those things where, like, to me, my most enjoyable games are the ones that I really like hate. Right? I don't know. Go figure. I'm sadistic or something.
So you like? Yeah, he likes. He likes pain. He likes.
Yeah,
pain.
I guess I do.
You like to be hurt, Gil.
Like I beat Deathloop was an amazing game, but it was totally broken, right? Because it has a glitch where if you pause, it crashes the game. So it's almost like you couldn't pause, like Elden Ring. Yeah, I don't know if they fixed it.
Terrible.
It's terrible. But I'm I like the story, and again, the game sucks. So it's really frustrating. So I feel like I have to beat it. And I ended up.
But you know
it.
what?
I don't know.
You know what? You're talking about having to travel with the chest thing. It's like at least the chest wasn't trying to eat you like it is in D&D, when you have mimics who like actually will eat people.
Fuck
so,
that.
No, I can
Well,
at least they don't have that piece.
It's a gelatinous cube.
The stick.
Bloodborne and a few of the Dark Souls games have the mimic in it.
Thank you. They do, and that's why I was like, oh. See, like I said, I'm starting to get into D&D now. So I've watched a lot of movies, played a lot of video games, and the guy that I'm seeing right now was like, I'm surprised you haven't gotten into D&D. And I'm like, tell me more about this. This sounds just like right up my alley. And
Let me
we're
get
talking
angry
about,
at something else.
right? And so we start talking about it, and I'm like, oh, this is like this in this movie or this in this game. He goes, yes. I'm like, oh, this is so me. So when you talk about a chest transporting you to different places, like that's not bad. At least it's not trying to eat you. I'm just like,
Can I just say one thing that people who haven't played X-Men on the Sega Genesis has no feeling of pain when you're playing that game. And there was that thing at the end to get Magneto, and you're just like, wait, what just happened?
Yep.
There was no save button, nothing.
Oh, I'm trying to think. There was another game like X-Men. Yeah, X-Men was bad. And then like when you would, I think it's like one of the ones where, I think that's the one where you would fall and like, I think Storm or one of the other ones would kind of like teleport you back. Is that the one we're talking?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, damn it. Thank you, Storm. You're the best ever. So yeah, no, yeah, those games back in the day, if you missed a little jump, boy, yeah, it was
It's just
bad.
game over.
Bad news
Oh
bears.
man.
That cliche one that everybody talks about, Battletoads, right?
Oh
Boom.
yeah.
Yep.
I
that
love
Ninja Turtle board, the
Battletoads
one with
so
the
much.
water,
Yeah.
that's another.
Oh yeah,
there's-
like when
there's-
you're like riding like the jet ski over the membrane or something. Oh yeah, no, it was terrible, but you
Oh,
just keep
man.
doing it over and over.
Ninja Gaiden had some crazy stuff too. Oh man,
No, I brought it up before, but where you're talking like glutton for punishment, it's like I remember there was Trials XD for
Oh,
360
yeah.
where it's like just like the motorcycles and you have to go over like the obstacles and something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
It's where like you're riding up and then you make it through like 3/4 of the level, you fuck up, you have a button that you can restart instantly because god damn it, I hate myself, I need to go back, let's do it again.
Yeah.
And you couldn't stop until it was actually done, and then hopefully you have enough sense to be like, that was good enough run, I need to end my night here, and then you're like, okay, maybe one more.
Yeah.
And
And you just know the second you go off of a jump at the wrong angle, you're like, nope, rebut.
done.
Yep.
Yep, yeah,
Restart.
it's like
Angle is
vroom.
important.
Yeah,
Angle
very
is
true.
important.
that
Very
it
true.
is.
In
It's
a
like,
lot
oh,
of areas
hit that
of
one
life.
wrong.
No,
Yeah.
angle is important.
Also, too, when you hear Battletoads,
I was half
who's
expecting
not-
you to just try to eat your microphone there. Or the
I know,
camera.
right? The beauty of this is that it's in my headset, so I don't have to worry about getting too close, So, just saying.
Oh.
Also, too, when you think of Battletoads, who doesn't think of Family Double Dare or like Double Dare? You
Ooh,
always win that
ooh.
game. Like that game probably sucked retail wise, and just like, hey, Family Feud, this can be your game. At the
Yeah.
like part of the grand prize, right?
Oh man, but you know what also gets me is when you think about a lot of the old games that were side scrollers, right? Like those type of games, that was one of the types of you're like in these games nowadays, you can do like all these like 3D views and like look at this is sky and what's behind me. Those are like, look, we're going at one speed, either keep up or you don't, right? Like it was like that's all you got, right? And I think that the complexity was very low. So like you said, they had to make it where it was hard. Like you said, the replayability wasn't there, right? But I just think that it's just so they're now trying to go for more of your senses, right? Like Art was talking about how when you're on Spider-Man, all these other things are happening. And if you're the type of person who gets like squirrel type of a thing, it's not good. It's not good. But it's beautiful when you actually go and do it, right? You can take some really nice pictures and be like, hey, and I love the fact that you have that ability in the games now, but going for more completion. Like when you think about The Witcher, especially like the Wild Hunt, right? Like that game was like, oh, you chose to do this. Sorry, that side campaign doesn't actually happen for you anymore, which I thought was pretty cool. They also did a little bit of that of like choosing your decisions on Army of Two. I don't know if you guys have played that one. The second one was very dependent upon your decisions. That was a trip because I remember one of the parts where the tiger actually ate the guy in the car, and I was like, nice. Okay. All right. So I didn't kill the tiger, but he ate somebody in a car. Cool. Okay. I like that. So it's just that type of stuff is just really interesting for some of the newer games. And I think they're trying to go for more of that side story stuff that you can focus on, which adds a little bit of difficulty, which with Elden Ring, I think is pretty cool because it's an open world. You can get to different areas in different ways. But the thing is that if you choose to follow certain parts, you would never know about these other things that are happening, right? And sometimes you can't even get to them. But I do also like the fact of if you want to, like me, hit people a couple of times and see what happens, and they start to chase you for the rest of the game. That's also pretty interesting as well. Just saying. So,
All right, we won't talk about Cuphead then.
Oh, Cuphead is. I have not played that one.
That's gonna. I will say, if you want a frustrating side scroller that is more recent, check out Cuphead. But I mean, we could honestly do like a whole another.
We did an entire podcast on it.
We did.
Did you?
Yeah.
So
Go
have
check
you
it out
guys
on
beat the
Super Fun
game though?
YouTube.
I was gonna say, have you guys beat the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. It was incredibly difficult, but very rewarding to do so.
So you dominated it in the end. Good. Good for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Good for you.
Never got horns and did stuff. Anyway.
Did stuff.
So, all right. We are going to roll on into our next segment, which is going to be our March Madness segment with RC.
Yes.
Happy birthday, RC.
Madness!
Rajay Gaming back here with you on Libations, and Lost Saves. And I gotta say, it's another March, and it's another March without March Madness on the console systems. You know what I mean. You remember the fun from back in the day. You remember hearing the voices, a little Dickie V, a little Bill Rafferty, a little Gus Johnson. They were all so nice sounding coming out of the game console system as you were getting ready for March Madness on the TV set. But now, we don't have any still. 12 years later, man, we can't even play basketball from college on our console systems or PC. What is up with that? Things gotta change, man. Things gotta change. This is my ode going out to March. I'm wishing for March Madness to come back one day. I know they gotta pay players now for likenesses, but they got the money. They got the dollars. They can make it happen. I want to get out there on the hardwood, hear that ball dribble through my speakers, make some slam dunks, shoot some threes, knock it down, knock it down, knock it down. Oh, those were the days, those were the times. Oh, the memories. Whoever you wanted to be in college, you had your college team, you had the rivalries, you had the cheering. And what better than Gus Johnson coming through your speaker? Bill Rafferty with the kiss. Dickie V with the awesome, baby. Oh, I miss it all. I miss it all. So this is my ode to March. Hopefully one day it'll return. But here I share with you some of the footage from the good old days because it still hurts, man. It still hurts. Oh, do I miss those days. Playing a little March Madness, little NCAA basketball on the PlayStation or the Xbox, wherever it may be. Oh, those were the days. Hopefully, those days will return. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. That being said, I'm out. March. Maybe next year. Maybe 2023. We'll see you then. Bye. This is Rajay Gaming, signing off.
What's up, everybody? Art Eddie here from the Art of Fatherhood, and I'm so honored to be part of this great group over at Libations, and Lost Saves. I'm going to be talking in this segment about the game that's finally going to be released, and it's the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. It was supposed to be released like 2 years ago, last year, and finally, fingers crossed, that it's going to be released in this April coming up. I'm going to be talking about it in a second, but again, my name is Art Eddie. Since this is my first segment, I'll talk a little bit about myself. As you can tell, I'm a big Star Wars geek. I'm a sneakerhead. Love all things sports, especially football. I'm going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things in these different segments, from video games to pop culture to you name it. If you have something special that you want me to talk about, let me know as well. You can always hit us up in the forums over at our YouTube section over at Libations and Lost Saves. So you can also follow me on all different social media, and you can also go to artoffatherhood.net. But let's get into it. The Skywalker Saga Lego game. Like I said, this game was supposed to be released like in 2020, and during the pandemic, I was like, I was looking forward to it because these games are great. I'm a big fan of Lego just in general, like the actual, brick and brick pieces put together. But when these Lego games come out, they're funny. We've got the Harry Potter ones, we've got some other Star Wars ones, but this one is like all the different movies put together. And in this brand new game, you can experience like different memorable moments and nonstop action from the different trilogies, whether it's the old school trilogy with, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, or the prequels like Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. And then, of course, the sequels, which was The Force Awakens, The Lost Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. So a lot of great things in this game. There's going to be different levels for you to, conquer, and you can follow along. But the cool thing about this game is you don't have to, go in order. Everyone, there's always talking about, like, which way do you, especially us being, some of us here in this round table are dads and parents, and it's like, which way do you show your kids the Star Wars universe? You start with the original and all this other stuff. You can just go whichever way you want in this game, which I think is cool. So you don't have to follow any which way. And the cool thing about Lego, it's very immersive. Like there's tasks that you need to do, but then you can also, if you're like me, and you're very diligent in finding all the coins and locking all the different golden bricks and all that good stuff. So that's in there as well. Also, too, if you bought one of the Lego, I guess, spaceships, there was actual in some of the Lego Star Wars sets, the actual physical sets, there was some codes that was supposed to go along with the game, and like I said, it came out like in 2020. So if you still have your manuals, look in the back of the pages, because there are ways that you can put those Lego ships right away. You can get them right away if you use those codes. Just a heads up. So if you bought Lego sets, if you and your family are hanging out with them, or you're building them together for your, your office, your den, whatever the case may be, go look at certain sets of the Star Wars from Lego. They actually have specific codes on them. So when you finally get the game, it's going to be on PS5, Xbox, I think PS4, Xbox 360, and some other ones as well. You can play on the PC. But check out for those codes at the back of the page. And I think also too, I've heard rumors that if you had the Star Wars Lego Advent Calendar of last year, there might have been some codes in that as well. So if you still keep that stuff like me, you can get some free, or you can get those ships or characters right away. Different heroes and villains, of course. You got Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, but Qui-Gon Jinn, Princess Leia, Poe Dameron. All these different guys and gals in the universe are going to be there, like Emperor Palpatine and Darth Maul. Different places, like from all the different trilogies, of course. You have Crate from the new trilogies. You have Geonosis from Attack of the Clones from Episode 2. And, of course, Tatooine and all that good stuff. So there's a lot, things there. And also, too, if you want more Star Wars in your life, Star Wars Lego, if you have Apple Arcade, there's a really cool thing called Lego Star Wars Castaways. This is where you can actually create yourself as a Star Wars character, interact with different people in the Star Wars universe, go to different places, go to different, planets and all that good stuff. Then you also have to solve different puzzles and games and all that other good stuff. And that's Lego Star Wars Castaways. And you can play it on your, your iPhone, iMac. As long as you have Apple Arcade, you can check that game out. It's pretty fun. If you're a Star Wars geek like myself, definitely make sure you check out Lego Star Wars Castaways. What character are you guys mostly looking forward to playing in the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga? For me, it's always Luke Skywalker. Looking forward to playing some of maybe the new characters as well. Kylo Ren, seeing what his powers are in the game and all that good stuff. So, again, thanks for letting me be part of this roundtable. Hope you guys like my segment. Again, if you want me to talk about certain things you guys are into, let me know. Hit me up on the forum, and I'll definitely work on that as well. But thanks to Greg and the gang over at Libations and Lost Saves. Looking forward to geeking out with everybody. See ya.
Hey everyone, Aya Gil
I am Victor, and we are
are the fan
Fan
dads.
Dads. Yeah, that's corny, but why not? So we're going to be dropping it every now and then on Lags, Libations, and Lost Saves, talking about games that we play with our children, because we're both dads,
and we're fans of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be sharing games for the Switch, the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X.
And I'll be, since I'm old school, I guess, or not up to date, I'll be playing Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Xbox One.
And so we'll also be chiming in on just, like I said, we're dads, right? So stuff that games that we play with our kids, games that maybe our kids drive us to play, and just, in general, talking stuff with the other people in the show, maybe jump in on the round table or two and have some tape segments here and there. So we look forward to doing it.
Yeah. And then also share like games that we played as kids that we're playing with our children, see how they react to those. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun with this, and we'll be dropping in every now and then on the channel.
And do we share our ads and stuff? I mean, you could find us anywhere pretty much at Fandads, FANDADS.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook. We're on the Twitter. The what is it? Do we have a TikTok? Something?
We have a TikTok. We have a YouTube, which we're probably on right now because that's where they're watching us.
Exactly. We probably have. Yeah, we're not hard to find, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll see you, I guess, every now and then on 3Ls, and we'll be there and having fun. So we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Shovel Knight is a game about a knight who has a shovel. That's it. It's in the name. Gameplay wise, Shovel Knight is like an old school platformer. The game is a little hard, but it isn't Dark Souls hard, I would say. The graphics look amazing, especially because they lose the original colors the original NES could handle, with a few exceptions. This villager, this cloak, this deep red, and this dark purple. The combat consists of 3 things: shoveling, shovel drop, which can be really fun if you train multiple shovel drops on a boss or multiple enemies in a row. Also, shovel drop can be upgraded to do many different things. My favorite being, if you train 2 shovel drops, your standard shovel does extra damage with more reach. And my favorite part of that combat, relics. Relics are abilities that lose a magic meter, and there's some really cool ones, like the phase locket, allowing you not to take damage for a short period of time. This saved me on multiple occasions. Or the dust knuckles, allowing you to punch through a bunch of blocks or a bunch of enemies. Then there's some lame ones, like the fishing rod or the throwing anchor. But with these 3 things combined, make Shovel Knight combat difficult but fun. But who cares about combat if you don't get good stages to battle on? Shovel Knight stages are pretty simple. You start to start, obviously, and your mission is to get to the end and fight the boss. But let's talk about how you get there. Every good game has a checkpoint system. Shovel Knight has a pretty cool one, where if you break the checkpoint, you get gold, but then you can't respawn there. It's a high risk, high reward sort of system. Another thing I like about Shovel Knight's levels is the cool little side challenges. Like if you break this wall and do a harder platforming challenge, you can get a magic sheet which can be exchanged for more gold. And you know what they say, a hero is only as good as villains, and Shovel Knight's villains are pretty good. The bosses are kind of goofy in a sense. Sometimes it's a living embodiment of death, or basically a reskin of Shovel Knight. The bosses take a little bit of the beat, but the feeling of mastering the fight and beating the boss is just so fun. All in all, Shovel Knight is one of my favorite platforms. Its mixture of old school mechanics with today's standards is amazing. I'll give it a 6 out of 7.
What's up,
God
y'all?
damn, we are funky. I
Jamming it out.
just gotta
I feel
say.
like we should have like mustaches, you know what I'm saying? Like the real like 70s mustaches from back in the day. But
Yeah,
the music
just
just saying, boom, chicka, boom, you know, sorry.
I just cover my beard. I have one.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. My name is Dick Hand.
Dick hand, I like that. All right.
Surprise! I got dicks for hands.
We want to bring the funk here, y'all.
Funky, funky.
So, the thing that I have to say here is happy birthday to RC, our castmate here.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, but he didn't, he wasn't physically with us, but he was with us
He
in
was
the
here
comments.
spiritually.
Yeah.
He was with us in the comments, and
In the digital realm.
I'm sure he's
He has
having a
post
libation.
That March
Right, so-
Madness thing makes me happy and sad. Like, he did a great job with that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Oh, I
you
know.
You didn't know you missed it before he said that, right? I didn't know I missed it either.
But you know what? The one thing I will say they gave it a little bit extra for me is that he had Michigan State in there because that's my team. So I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, oh, he got my Spartans in there. That's all I needed. That is all I needed.
All right. Any other thoughts here while we wrap?
Only just a thank you to everybody on this podcast.
Bill, bud, you'll get there. You'll get there, man.
He's gonna, you know what? In a couple of weeks, he'll be like, you know, it's the best game ever.
No,
I'm
it's-
so,
that's what
I'm so
happened.
happy.
To add insult to injury, I just read that somebody speed ran it in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can.
that's bullshit.
Well, I mean, if you cut through certain parts, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's like Breath of the Wild, apparently. You can
Yeah,
go
yeah.
right to the end boss and beat it.
Yes.
Okay, good for them. I would not be one of them. Not at all.
You don't want a challenge then there, Steve.
No. I will give it a shot, but I am a fucking casual, and it will just take me 3
Fucking
times
casual.
as long to get.
So is that different from just a straight cash? Like you've got a fucking
Yeah.
casual. Okay,
Exactly.
all right.
Yeah, it's like here's casual, and then fucking casual is just up on like one
Got it.
step above, and then that's all I
One?
got. That's
I
it.
would have thought that was at least 3, but that's just me just saying because you put
Hey,
the
Where does that
full
rank between
emphasis-
that and business casual? I'm just
And
Right.
I really
Just
think
past
it all
that.
it
It's all
falls in
party.
the
Casual,
ISP holder.
business casual, fucking
casual. Exactly.
Okay,
I
so
feel
I'm
like
like 3 tiers up.
yeah, I was gonna say I
Even
feel like that's
better.
where all the business deals. You don't even have to say
Okay.
anything. It's just like the scene from what was that movie back in the day, American Psycho, when you
Oh.
like put the business card down. It's like that's boned. I feel like that would
That's
be at the
boned.
level.
do you guys
Just
like
Oh, yeah.
St. Louis in the news?
Herringbone embossed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good card.
That's
Hey,
bone.
Paul!
That's bone. Again, if you like that movie, I feel like you're one of my people because that's like one of my favorite movies. So if anybody knows what that movie is who's watching this, you can understand the type of person that I am. Just saying. Just
There
saying.
you go.
Can we also just say that, yeah, Gil's hat, awesome, man. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should. That could actually be official for the show, I would say. Just got to put a couple extra L's.
Right. That's our logo.
It's a Korean
right.
baseball team.
Cells.
Unfortunately, it might be all the baseball we get this year.
And as I said, Steve, as I said backstage, Steve is trying to set the record, or is setting a record for the most cuss words on this live stream. He's
Wait, you tell me I have to step up my fucking game?
You got to
tell me I have to step up my fucking game? Okay,
Yeah,
right,
you
cool.
fucking do. Let's do
Damn.
it. Stop coming with
That's
bullshit.
some bullshit.
Right. Well, I want to thank y'all guys. We had a great time.
Awesome.
Y'all did a
Yes.
great job on that round table. Thanks for the contributions, Art, RC, Slothy, who was invited but did not join us. But we can cuss around him because he's heard my mouth.
Yeah,
and it's
That's fair.
we're good. We're good with that.
If it's
We're
coming
good with
from Daddy, I guess it's okay.
Yes. So we'll see y'all on the next Slag Libations and Lost Saves on Wednesday, April 13th, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh, 13.
Cheers.
There we go.
Cheers.
Love you guys.